Okay, chapter 9.4. Which analysis should you conduct? Okay. This chapter is very short. One of the most important concepts that you need to understand is to deciding which analysis you should conduct for a particular situation. To help you find out the analysis to conduct, there are a series of questions you should ask yourself. Before I move on, let me share my experiences here. When I was a PG student, I took the course about biostatistics. It was really trouble for me because sometimes the question give us different conditions. Even the exam are open booked, but we cannot select a good way. So I think this chapter 9.4 is very good to clarify some concepts. First question, does the problem deal with mean or proportion? Mean or proportion? What does it mean proportion? 5%, 9%, it's just yes or no. For example, do you have a car? Yes or no? Yes or no? No, I have 0.5.0 or 0.35 car. No, you have a car or you don't have a car. It's called proportion. And so how about the mean? What's the height, body weight? We all have body weight, maybe 60 kilograms, maybe 62.5 kilograms, maybe 80.2 kilograms. So we can get a mean. It's different. Okay. Sometimes the problem states explicitly the words mean or proportion, but other times you have to figure it out based on the information you are given. If you counted the number of individuals that responded the affirmative to a question, then you are dealing with a proportion. If you measure something, for example, body height, cholesterol level in blood, or how much water you drink, as the Jerry's research, he did a survey on you about the drinking water, then you are dealing with the mean. The second point, does the problem have one or two samples? Okay, so look to see if the one group is measured or two groups were measured. If you have a data set, then it is usually easy to figure out if there is one or two samples. Then there is either one data set or two data sets. If you don't have the data, then you need to decide if the problem describes collecting data from one group or from two groups. Okay, collect from one group. Generally, the other is the population. But actually, in most cases, personally, I think two groups generally are samples. It's not easy to get the population. Not easy unless you accumulated a lot of data, like the battery, the example on the textbook. Okay. Number three, if you have two samples, then you need to determine if the samples are dependent or independent. Again, dependent or independent. Question number three, determine one group or two groups. Point three, if you have two groups, you need to determine the samples are independent or dependent. As we mentioned previously, one person, for example, you joined the drinking water test survey. We compared before you come to Taiwan and after you arrive in Taiwan. Thus, you are the same people, you are the dependent. But I want to test two groups of people, one drink black tea, one did not drink black tea. They can consider as independent groups. Okay, if the individuals are different from both samples, this most likely the samples are independent. If you cannot tell, then determine if a data value from the first sample influences the data value in the second sample. It's very, how can I say, it's very annoying. Let me say that before you come to Taiwan, you're drinking water. After you come to Taiwan, you still drinking water. I want to know individual before they come to Taiwan, after they come to Taiwan, the amount of drinking water they did every day. So that is dependent. And this time we use the paired t-test, but otherwise the samples are independent. Sure, dependent or independent, they are academic terms, they are terminology. But here I try to use some easy way to explain this. And point 4, does the situation involve hypothesis test or a confidence interval? Hypothesis test, as I mentioned, we always think about are they the same? Are they different? Is drinking black tea can lower cholesterol in our body? That is hypothesis test. And what is confidence interval? We can think about after our survey or experiments, we believe the population mean is in the range from A to B, and we can say that is confidence interval. If the problem tells about do the data show, is there evidence of test to see, then you are doing a hypothesis test. If the problem tells about find the value, estimate, or find the interval, those are 3 key words, then you are doing a confidence interval. So if you have a situation that 2 samples, independent samples involving the mean, and it is a hypothesis test, then you have 2 sample independent tests. Now you look up the assumptions and the formula or technology process for doing this test. Every hypothesis test involves the same 6 steps, setting the variables and checking the assumption and running the non-hypothesis and alternative hypothesis and calculate and state the p-value and conclude, is it significantly different or not, okay? And again, you just need to use the correct assumption and calculations. So this is why it is so important to figure out what analysis you should conduct. And here is some sources here. Okay, and okay, have a 10-minute break, then we will move to the chapter number 10. We will discuss regression and correlation. And chapter 10 is also very important, but I think it's not difficult. Very important, but not difficult. But the concept is very, very important, not only in science subject, but also in business subjects.